chat or I
Over
think
there
that's
and
Venmo over there, and whatnot, and there might be the PayPal on this one if I go way back. It rotates through. It's a very curious thing. Um, Meanwhile, hi everybody.
Meanwhile,
Every time I bring the screen up on the chat, it like freezes in place, and I'm not quite sure why. It's very
well,
strong.
because I'm going back and forth between these two,
It's
and I do
brutal.
love
All
Hal.
right.
Don't get me
Hopefully
wrong.
everything's working
Love
out
me
okay.
some
But
Hal.
anyways, stolen is obviously the bread is trending this morning because stolen. There it is. There you can make easy stolen bread without yeast.
Stolen.
Oonka-dookie.
Stolen bread. Stolen bread. Stolen.
Yeah, so everybody's if Fox and this was the him flipping out about Fox
Because Fox
those hilarious
is trying
comedians
to
who have been
probably
stolen.
settle. And I don't think Dominion's gonna.
Beat reserves buffet tonight, no cover charge.
Well, here's the problem. I think Dominion's gonna request that they admit that they lied and put a bunch of things in there that's gonna say Rupert's gonna go, nope, not gonna do it. So they'll lose.
Praying for a fresh week, but then Ted Lou posted this. Just keep it. Oh, because everybody's having a Bud Light just to mess with them. Page photo op with it.
I don't drink beer, and I want to go buy some Anheuser-Busch just to fuck with that.
No, I think they did that on purpose.
Yes.
Yeah, it was staged. They got some beers. They took a picture. They're fucking with you, dum-dum.
Ted Lou is good at doing that.
They don't even drink Bud Light. This is bullshit. I don't even... like... Oh, God. These guys
Of course
can't
they
even
don't,
think,
you
they can't
dipshit.
Nice.
But
I mean,
this is so good. I love these guys. I do love these guys.
The right and hyper left slacktivist crowd just can't fucking help themselves. They can't not throw a monkey wrench into
everything. Everything.
Have you guys been following the TYT drama with the hyper lefties going after them and them pushing back again? Like Ted Lou fucking Wax is great.
Oy.
Because it's pretty sweet.
It's on the YouTube channel. I changed the title.
The fact that I'm holding a beer like a wine glass. No, he's holding it so you can see the label. Stupid.
Right. If you notice, every single one of them is holding it in that commercial label way. You know, where you put your fingers on the side for sure.
Is this about the
nobody holds a beer like that?
Integrated Star. Oh, SpaceX.
Nobody.
These are the super heavy and Starship expected.
And even if you held it by you're supposed to, the neck, you don't always have it pointing directly out.
The super heavy's the rocket.
Making sure that the name is showing in the picture.
Continuing the countdown as a dress rehearsal until the final seconds. Excellent. Starship orbital launch at 10.
Anyway, we're going to go back to
let's go.
for because he's going through.
Apparently not.
That I really want to go to this.
Whether you're on Patreon, whether you're watching, whether you're sharing, whether
and give to these guys because these guys are so important. I love Tony. I think Tony is good. I wish I could do what Tony's doing, but nobody's going to listen to me do what Tony's doing. That's why I'm promoting these two guys is who you need to listen to.
This movement, the Fuckum Fam, and a lot of people gave me great words of encouragement.
That's what I want to do.
And it's only because of you is the reason why I still do this every single weekday for 2 full hours. We want to go to 3. We're getting there. I promise you, we're getting there really fast as we grow this audience out. And we get more and more people watching. Last month in March, we had 4.7 million minutes watched, and that was with a 7-day suspension already. Since that suspension, I think we have almost 6 million minutes viewed here on this channel. Just this channel alone, this YouTube channel, The Tony Michaels Podcast. So don't forget to subscribe to The Tony Michaels Podcast here on YouTube.
Please
check that video out from the Patreon.
Midas Touch. And please go to Midas Touch too.
Also follow us on Twitter at Tony Michaels Pod. And do me a favor. Do me a favor because it's free. It doesn't cost you a thing. Go download every single episode on Apple, Spotify, Google, or on all of them. It's free over there. It helps us out here at the podcast by you downloading and listening to the audio version. Also, follow us on Facebook if you're over there at Tony Michaels. At the Tony Michaels. Just click the link there and follow us there. Also, you can find us broadcasting on the Upwire's YouTube channel. Just go to theupwire.com. You can find their YouTube channel there. There's some great content creators over on the Upwire.
Like, you got to put
they're posting shorts and videos all the time. There's some more podcasts over there on the Upwire. Go check it out. Also, if you want to give me a billionaire's money, just a couple bucks of Amazon Jeff Bezos' money, here's what you do.
Here's
you
what
got
you
an
do.
Amazon Prime
you go to Twitch.
You go and you link it to a Twitch account.
Exactly.
Because you get one free subscription.
Yep.
With Amazon Prime on Twitch.
Exactly.
It doesn't cost you a single
nickel.
It's already included in your Amazon Prime account. And you just select it. You give it to me every month. And you have to do it every month. I know it sounds crazy.
It's amazing how
it's a lot of work. But hey, I know you guys appreciate the show. And it's an easy way for you to give back to the show, and it doesn't cost you a single nickel, just a few minutes each month to give us that free subscription over on Twitch. So link your Amazon Prime account to Twitch, and give us that one free subscription, as I promised. We have a great guest today. I think she's, we have Rachel Bidikofer on all the time. We have
because I used to have these tied to
and Jess is
a
in the green
text
room now,
file.
but I'm hoping because I know
you
read
from
her.
And so what they used to be able to do is just go in
the chat's like
and
bing,
fix
bing,
that
bing,
text
bing, bing, bing,
file.
or anytime I bring up her name or a tweet of hers, it just lights up like a pinball machine. So I'm super excited to have Jess Piper here today, and hopefully we can get her on a couple times a month to keep us up to date, because there's one thing that she does better than almost anyone. Is piss off white, male, fragile Republicans. It's what I love most about Jess, is she gets in their grill, and I mean, she is their arch enemy with just social media. It's insanity how fragile they are and how weak they become when she comments on their post. It is absolutely chef's kiss delicious. So I love to bathe in MAGA tears, but these trumped up fragile white males are my favorite. They're my favorite, especially when they're elected House Republicans. That's right. The ones she pisses off the most are elected House Republicans. So don't go anywhere. Stick around right after this break. Jess Piper for Missouri. We'll be back right after this.
We'll be right back. Mark, 60 seconds. This is the Tony Michaels Podcast.
Oh, okay. See, there it is. Like, how the hell is it still got that?
I've always wanted to learn a new language, but whenever I try, it never sticks. So when Babbel made a MAGA edition, I knew I had to give it a try. Babbel MAGA edition makes it really easy to learn, and there's lots of lessons to choose from, like subtly racist to full-blown white supremacist. The first lesson began with learning simple phrases, and soon I was putting those words and phrases into a conversation. Each lesson takes about 10 to 15 minutes to complete, and they're all really different, which keeps things interesting. The app is really smart. It actually keeps track of the words that I'm struggling with. I chose Babbel MAGA edition because it's created by smart white people like me, and now I can't wait to explore, meet new friends, and use my new MAGA skills with my in-laws. All lives matter.
All lives matter.
Jumping back into it, this is the Tony Michaels Podcast.
Welcome back to the show.
Oh, I can. Ooh, yay. Because I wasn't sure if it was going to go across.
By request from the chat last week,
Yay,
I think we brought up one of her. There was a subject that we brought up. You know what it was? We were talking about Mike Moon, I believe. This state senator who decided it was a good idea.
Oh, hold on. And the fact that they're going after pot. Hold on, I just for 1 second.
I'm excited to have you back here on the Tony Michaels Podcast.
It's good for
Thank you so much. How's it going?
It's a great way if you're at a concert and you're a little bored.
Monday morning. And as
like that. Okay, sorry. We're going to go back to Tony.
I'm excited about what is happening in the country today.
Because I think this is just, it's something we should all be talking about. And hearing it from people, and I just hate to say this, hearing it from people who look like these two
someone who
makes
think he has
much
the
more
entitlement,
happen
with a
than
gun.
when you hear it from somebody
I call it
like
white gun
me.
culture here on the Tony Michaels podcast, where if you have a problem, Jess, you just solve it with a gun.
Just hate to say
and
it.
apparently he
This
had a
is
problem
true.
with someone being on his front porch while black, and a young man has almost had his life taken away from him. And this guy has, they have let him go for the time being. They say that they're investigating. They're waiting on a victim statement, which, Jesus Christ. But this is where we're at in this country right now. So sad things. But, you know, I'll tell you, a shining light here is that people in that community and other communities around the country are not going to put up with gun violence anymore. It feels like we are turning a corner, that Americans just are not going to go out and be scared because some crazy batshit idiot that has access to guns, because Republicans want anyone and everyone to have access to guns, has got a gun and can kill them, their children, their friends, their family members, their community. I just don't feel like we're in a position where we're going to put up with this much longer. I just don't feel that way. How about you?
Yeah, the kids had it, and we saw that in Tennessee, and we saw Governor Bill Lee they pushed his hand to sign common sense gun legislation because they're not putting up with it anymore. And the story you referenced is Ralph Yarl.
And these are white kids, not black and brown kids for the most part. That's the problem.
Just an everyday kid. He was a Missouri scholar. There are not very many kids chosen to be a Missouri scholar. He was all-state band. This kid,
he's like one of the highest ranked bass saxophone or bass clarinet. I forget which, but he's really good at playing an instrument. Like he's really good.
It sounds like he's really good at being a good human being. Mm-hmm. And he went to pick up a sibling and accidentally went down the wrong street. And a white guy came to his door and shot Ralph through the glass door and walked out and shot him again as he lay on the ground. And you're right. Yesterday, the community came together. I think there were 200, 300 people marching through that neighborhood demanding justice for Ralph. And that's the point of this entire thing is this is Missouri gun culture. This is GOP gun culture.
This is GOP
I'm a gun owner myself.
Gun culture. Sorry.
Trying
Everything
to
is about hate.
Gun regulations and laws.
Sorry. It's just show me how I'm wrong.
2017.
When everything they're doing is about hate of something that makes no sense.
Want common sense
statistically, mentally, physically, it makes no fucking sense. They're trans bullshit. They're anti-gay bullshit. It makes no sense.
They're listening to donors, and then
even
they
from
are refusing to pass laws, or they are creating even worse laws. I know that in Missouri we had the Second Amendment Preservation Act, which nullified federal gun laws.
Right.
And it's just now
being
taken up in court almost 2 years later.
Thank you.
But I would
That's
talk
the problem.
about
Is everything this is how you get away with bullshit. Is that everything takes years and years in court, and that's bullshit.
Well, we have,
and that's also set up by a system set up by the GOTP to make sure that all of our courts are always overstacked. Overstacked.
I think Saturday there was 9 mass shootings in this country. I think that was Saturday. In Alabama, we watched as a Sweet 16 party. There was 4 killed, 20 injured, and the list goes on. In Louisville, in a park just a ways away from where the bank was last week, where someone got access to a gun. He went and bought the gun days before and went and carried out the act early in the morning in the bank. Get killed. I think it's 6 or 7 now. I mean, it's hard to keep track of every single one of these mass shootings. So it's not
killing
just
ourselves off faster
than
ever.
Like in Ralph's
that's kind of scary.
Ralph ended up on the wrong street, on the wrong porch, on the wrong side of a gun. But it's also these mass shootings that are
we only got to this 8 billion level, sliding into 7.
It just feels like to me, with what is happening in Tennessee,
because of medicine and medication, and this whole new world that we've been starting to come into.
That we can't put up with
we
this
seem
anymore.
to be falling out of in some ways.
It doesn't deter Republicans, Jess. It doesn't deter them at all. We see Jim Jordan this morning. Jim Jordan of Ohio.
Idiot.
Which I can't even believe I have
he
to
did
say these words out of my mouth. Jim, I don't report sex crimes, Jordan, who is the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, goes on a field trip to New York City in his attempt to act like they're talking about violence and crime in New York City. Jess, New York City is per capita is one of the safest places to be in the country. I wonder what it could be, really, honestly. I wonder if there's like, I don't know, restrictions on firearms inside the city, like sale or carrying or concealing. It's almost like there's this, I don't know, thing like common sense gun safety that keeps people in New York safer. I don't know. It could be that. It could be that. But this morning in this hearing, Democrats are bringing up gun violence and guns, and the Republicans absolutely are not deterred. They deflect away from guns.
Of course they do.
Because you go after these Republicans. I mentioned it before the break.
Of course they do.
You're on them all the time. And the best... Your best interactions are when you're interacting with some of the scumbags in the Missouri legislature. Right, because I know some of these. I don't know them personally, but I've been around some of these people, and trust me, they're not who they think they are on social media or when they're on the House floor, the Senate floor. But Jess, what can we do? Because you're in the fight every day. So what can average people do about Republicans seemingly just? They don't care about the blood money of the
at all.
They don't care about the blood money of the gun
want
lobby
to keep the money
because they
flowing.
only want that. They don't want to protect their constituents. What do we do about it?
Well, it comes down to them basically, and I was just talking about this earlier today, in Missouri, in red states like Missouri, Ohio, all these states in the Midwest and the South, we are made to be responsible for managing the emotions of armed white guys. If, Ralph knocked on the wrong door and he was shot and that man is not in jail because Missouri says you don't even have to retreat if you feel like you're in danger. You can shoot through a glass door and shoot a child in the head,
right,
and you can stay out of jail because that's what's going on in Missouri. You can open carry a gun at 19 with no permit and no license. We just made it, the Democrats tried to bring up a bill to ban children from carrying guns on public land, and that was a step too far for the Republicans. Right. They were absolutely not, so we're at a place where we can't negotiate with them. There's no negotiation anymore. We have to gun make
everywhere
sure
and killing
they are
everything.
Out of office. And
it is
people
ridiculous.
will say this all the time. You guys vote against your self-interest, and you know this because I've said it before. 40% of House seats were not contested last year. How in God's name can people vote in their self-interest if there is no Democrat on their ticket? So we as the party have to get together and make sure that there is absolutely not one state race that is uncontested across the state, because until they are fearful that they are going to lose their job, they are going to do nothing. And if all else fails and you can't find a Democrat, find a moderate Republican and say, okay, we're going to primary you then. We're going to make sure that you lose in the primary. We have gotten to a place in Missouri, with the Democratic Party where we're in panic
because
mode.
There's a local gerrymander too, and that's what's left. That's why these places are still heavily Republican, is because there's a local gerrymander that keeps these local states very, very fucked up.
It's getting, it's hard to live here. And I'll tell you, that's the point. They don't want us living here. They want us moving out to cities, or they want us to move out of the states. I'm sure they would be absolutely tickled to death if I went to California just like they told me to, right?
Right.
If I moved to New York just like they told me to. I've walked New York streets. I feel perfectly safe there. Sometimes in Springfield, Missouri, I don't feel so safe.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way, that's a Republican-led city.
Thank you.
So they don't understand how math works, that when you have a bigger population, that you're going to have more
a lot
crime,
more
right?
crime, but I'm sorry.
Like good reason.
Yeah, the last time I was in New York was only, let's see, this is 2020, so it was 2021, just before Christmas. So it was cold, and I literally walked from 55th all the way up to my hotel by Broadway. So didn't feel... See, and the funny part is, I wouldn't have done that as a kid in the 1970s when I used to be there every summer. So that's the difference. I did that walk 3 years ago when I was there, and I will be there again in a few months. And I have no qualm about doing that walk now. I wouldn't have done it in the 70s because it was a cesspool down there.
As an intimidation factor. If you don't do what we say, if you try to restrict us at all, we'll kill you. I mean, literally, that's
right.
That's
exactly. It's this hate. That's the hate I'm talking about. It has nothing to do. It's like, no, if we don't like what you're saying, we gonna kill you.
4 or 5 different Twitter accounts.
What?
Coming at me. That are supposed to be. That's why they.
What the fuck is wrong with you then?
Senator Nick Shore.
I'm sorry. When that's your extreme,
trying to do
something's not right.
While I was speaking in Lawrence, Kansas, like these people make memes, they make accounts, they call people citizens, but they're not doing their freaking job.
Well, and I love that about you, that you're on them and you're not scared of them, and you let them know that you're not scared of them, and that's what scares them about you. Right. Mm-hmm. That's what scares them about you're not an elected official. Yeah. Do you have any power inside the government at all?
No.
Do you have big money behind you lobbying the
Soros?
Soros. Because it feels like Putin. To me that the only thing you try to do is to make sure that Missourians like you, as a parent, as a mother, as a teacher, as a community member, have a voice. And that's what anyone wants, right?
Yeah, I live on a farm in a house that I paid $29,000 for. I'm not cashing checks from anybody. I'm not supported by the NEA. I work with them occasionally. They don't send me a dime. You can look at everything. I raised more money than anybody across the state for a state race last term. I didn't take a salary. I'm not in this for money. I'm in it because my kids and grandkids live here, and Missouri has become untenable, and we can't stay forever
here
if nothing's going to change.
This.
It has to change.
Thank you.
And that's what they're scared about. Yep. I've got nothing to lose. What are they going to do? Not fund my road? Not fund my schools?
They're already not doing that.
They did it, friends.
Thank you. They're already doing that. What are you talking about?
Well, your buddy online, Nick, because he's it seems like you're his arch enemy, right? You're enemy number one for him. He's a pretty fragile little guy. He really is. He's a fragile little guy. And you know what? It's funny. I've seen him in person, out and about. And let me tell you something about males and alpha males. Nick is definitely no alpha male. Let me tell you something. Like up close and personal. And Nick, you probably know what I'm talking about because you'll probably watch this because you can't help. You can't help but be everywhere Jess is because she's your arch enemy. So, buddy, I hate to tell you, man, but the mustache just doesn't do it that well. It just doesn't project. So my advice to Nick is to do your job. That's what you should be doing. Instead of focusing on Twitter and doing the gotcha thing on the quote tweets of Jess, maybe what you should do is, I don't know, think about what constituents you represent and go do that. Go do that in Jefferson City. And I'm calling on all Republicans everywhere, not just in Missouri, but everywhere, in Tennessee, in New York, in the United States House of Representatives. Do your fucking job. Hey, Kevin McCarthy, how about if you want Biden to come to the table, how about
you put out a goddamn budget?
And this is what they do.
Put out a budget.
And it's not just at the federal level. It's not just at state levels. It's at county levels. It's at school boards. Every single place that they can get their hands on power, they're trying to make sure that they institute the own the libs policy. Right. How in the world,
which makes no sense,
they survive this?
Thank you. If that's all you're about is like making somebody. No, that's not what. I don't care about that. What I don't like is the fact that you're hateful people. You're just hateful people. All you're doing is talking about hate now because you have no agenda other than hate.
Because I am what they act like they are. I'm born and bred rural. I live in the middle of nowhere. I send my kids to public schools. I'm a gun owner. I have 5 kids and 3 grandkids, and I'm an everyday American, and they're trying to make me something they cannot. And they're trying to be me, but they live in gated communities, along in St. Louis. They're not me.
Thank you. They're not her.
The whole point of this is that it's the red state.
That's what I like about Tony, too. Tony's doing the same thing.
I say this all the time. Don't focus on D.C.
In Texas, doing this shit from the heartland.
health bans and bans on trans kids' health care. And in Missouri, it's trans adults now who cannot receive health care. Look at your state house. They can't run on their records. The Missouri GOP has been in power for 2 decades, 20 years. Every single thing that is wrong and unholy with this state has originated from a policy from a GOP, state legislature.
Thank you.
I can't have. It's hard for them to scoop snow off of my road. I can pick up pieces of asphalt and bring it in my house if I want to, because that's what my road looks like. Right? Our schools have gone down to 4 days a week. Kids miss 36 days of school every single year out in rural Missouri because they refuse to fund it. And then when we had bad test scores, they run to find a camera to talk about how crappy, Missouri teachers and schools are. You defunded it. You took the money away from it. You got exactly what you wanted, which is privatizing schools. All of this comes to this. You
right, exactly. Thank you. This is my problem. They're winning, and we need to stop this shit where they keep winning. They're defunding the schools to the point where they can't even work.
Businesses to St. Louis, and he said he was struggling
I couldn't imagine
because the nasty press coverage. And I'm like, Mike, it ain't the press coverage, it's what you're doing. People are not going to bring employees and businesses to states that ban abortion and don't fund libraries. You don't fund your schools. You can't find someone to take care of your kid, and we can't drive on the road, Mike. No one's coming.
Yeah.
Well,
no, there's.
Go ahead, Gabe.
I was going to say there's a few things that you said in there. One is it really goes to show you, how fragile or how weak or how sensitive another guy like Nick can be. Like the fact that he's a sitting representative for the state of Missouri, and he's taking out his day, right? The time that he should spend representing constituents, much like Jim Jordan is going on a field trip to New York to try to own Alvin Bragg.
Alvin Bragg when your own city and state have got worse stats.
All of these categories,
much worse
across the board,
much worse.
Thread of it this morning.
Yeah, I know. It's great to see, right? Like because what happens here is you see Republicans say, "Hey, I'm going to own the libs.
I'm going to own the libs. I'm going to own them.
And they're going to have to prove it. And they're like, "Okay, bet.
Fine.
Prove it.
On.
Here it is. Here are the numbers. Here are the figures. Here are the stats. Here's the actual data." Despite the fact that we know you guys don't like math, you want to ban math, you don't want to accept the math, the basic arithmetic that stands in front of you. So it's funny to see someone who, sees you as a threat because you are a threat, right? You actually represent American values,
right?
I saw someone in the chat say, what was it? It was. I'll try to find it in a second, but it was a phrase.
Dirt road Democrats, is that what it was?
No, it was.
Because that's what Jess's podcast is called, Dirt Road Democrats.
No, it was
because there are Dirt Road Democrats out there.
Right, thank you.
Corn-fed.
There you go.
Yeah, but you look at someone like Nick, and you see it's a pretty common theme across Republicans. They always hate anyone who actually says, "Hey, let's actually look at the problem, right? Let's not try to sugarcoat it or say, oh,
we'll get by it. We can't do that. We're not going to.
Some lobbyist paying me money or whatever it might be."
Yep.
But then the other thing too is like. You look at how the Republican Party has abandoned Americans, right? And you look at, the example you just gave of trying to bring international business in. Why would anyone ever want to leave their country for a shittier situation, right? If the roads aren't kept up and they're not maintained.
No, it's so true.
If the school and education system is worse than it is in their country, if the healthcare is worse than it is in their country, if the human rights are worse than it is in their country, why would any business say, "Hey, come on over to Missouri. We've got a great international business scene, and we want you to move here"?
Well, the hell with international. It's going to become American soon.
Right, exactly.
Because American companies aren't even going to want to go to American states because they're going to choose. They're going to choose a state that has better education, better educated people that care about, I don't know, even simple nutrition for children. I mean, to imagine in this country that manufacturers.
I just love these people who just keep sending me this shit when it literally says on there.
They're going to say,
"Do not send me your shit,"
where they won't even feed children
because it will get ignored.
To be educated, fully nutrition adults, or we'll go to, I don't know, some state that finds nutrition, I don't know, like it's essential to children's learning. And then maybe because they fund education a little better, they'll be a little better educated. So maybe they'll make better employees because I don't know, they make smarter, logical, rational decisions when they're working for us. I mean, these things are so simple to understand. But Jess, I want to touch on something, and it's kind of anecdotal. Some folks I know who are diehard Trumpers, they're QAnoners. I mean, it's kind of sad. They're part of the family, but they were in a conversation this weekend, and they had no idea, not a single fucking clue that Republicans in the state of Missouri had defunded every single nickel of public libraries. And when they heard that, they were outraged. They were outraged.
Yeah.
And folks, I think
the
point is
just because they don't want
this, because I know
to not be able to ban books.
Lungs, right?
Let's just get rid of the library. Instead of banning the book, let's just get rid of the whole library.
Of microphones, use them. And so I want you to tell folks
wait
how to use
until
their
they
microphone,
try and start
really
fucking with the
that
internet.
People rule people.
See,
like
here's the
you're talking
problem.
about.
What
Don't
these
care about
politicians
these things, or
don't seem to
want
realize,
public libraries, they
and
don't
I think
want-
so many of them don't seem to get it, and I think you're going to start understanding a little bit more of it as the weeks go along. There's a capitalist system, and if you start fucking with a lot of people's money, like pharmaceutical companies, don't be surprised if a lot of what's going on in the courts and in conservative world, because a lot of conservatives are stupid about the way that they talk. Look at Fox, SMS, email. Sorry, that's why I believe Putin has bullshit on all of the GOP. Just saying. And that I think Thomas's issues on the court may have something to do with the court swinging a little too far right. Weird that. And I would not be surprised if there might be somebody else who has other skeletons, so that the court all of a sudden doesn't have that problem, because it's all of a sudden starting to swing into purses and pocketbooks that it shouldn't.
They're public schools. I mean, hell, in most rural communities, that's the biggest employer in the entire community is the school. Like, the school is the biggest employer in some of those communities. So tell us, how do you use your microphone to let folks know that, yes, they're defunding libraries. Yes, they're defunding schools. And let me tell you something. This defunding library is not going to affect libraries in very big, heavy populated areas, because those libraries are funded by property tax. The rural communities are the ones that are going to lose their libraries. Access to the internet, access to free rentable movies, access to newspapers, access to the outside world sometimes in those cases in those rural communities. So tell us what we do with our microphones, because I think that's the most important thing, is to tell people what they're doing, because they just don't know.
Yeah, the economics of Republican policies have got us to where we are right now. So when my neighbors look at the fact that we only have a gas station in town now, we don't have any place to, say, buy milk or that sort of thing. That is Republican policy.
Wow.
The fact that we can't scoop our roads and we only have chip and seal on all the roads in town, and they've basically degraded down to gravel. That's Republican policy. The fact that we don't have a performing arts center, that we have to co-op for sports so that we have a field to play on. The fact that our, science books are from 2002. Those are Republican
2002.
You have to talk to folks about what they're worried about. The hospital in our area was forced to consolidate because we didn't expand Medicaid, which is a Republican policy. When we consolidated, we lost one of the biggest child care centers in our district. It had 180 kids there. We live in a child care desert. If you cannot find affordable child care, affordable living, affordable livable wages, those are all Republican policies.
Right.
So you have to be very specific about what you're talking about. We have one library in my county.
See, and I don't, this is my other problem with what they're doing. Do they not understand that what they're doing, their policies to try and force women to have kids, is part of the policy that fucking gets them to where they're at? Again, filling in the fucking pool. Idiots who don't understand that when you fill in the fucking pool, it actually hurts not just the people you think you're hurting, it hurts you. It hurts your mom, your dad, the whole fucking community, because you didn't figure out all the shit that pool was doing for the community before you filled it in, because you didn't want one group of people in the pool.
Days or reduce the days or reduce the programs that they put on, because like you said, St. Louis libraries are probably going to make it through this. Libraries in my area will not. And so
because there's
when I knock a door, when I talk to somebody, the first thing they do is they don't like Democrats because they don't like Joe Biden or they don't like Nancy Pelosi. And I always have to say, Nancy Pelosi doesn't know where Maryville, Missouri is. Joe Biden, the only thing he does is write a check for the highway. Like that's the only thing they have to do with our area.
Exactly.
But your Republican representative just voted to defund your schools. They voted to defund your libraries, and our libraries
Thank you.
Closed. So it's called
these are your local people.
It's talking to people and having long conversations, which takes a lot of folks. It can't just be me, right? I'll tell you one other thing too. I knocked a lot of doors and I talked to a lot of folks that did not vote for me, but they saw me, they heard me. I don't look like like I eat babies. I don't have horns.
She looks like grandma next door. Thank you.
She seemed like an okay person.
Yeah, she's just grandma next door.
I thought you hid your horns for the show.
Thank you.
Well, the other thing
that's what the glasses are about.
Because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we didn't have this.
No.
A lot of people don't know this. Republicans in the state of Missouri, like the Republicans who represent constituents.
When I was in school, we did not even think about this.
They've been scumbags for a long time. And they say vile, nasty things about their constituents and about other Missourians.
Understand also, when I was in
floor,
school, most people weren't driving around big trucks.
I hate to say it like this, but they're pieces
and I went to school in some rural fucking area.
It's just
no
one's paid attention. No one has paid attention. And last week, I believe you and others took a hearing that Mike Moon was in, and he was trying to defend his vote.
That was kind of late,
12-year-old girls being married.
Early
because
90s,
let's face it, they're not talking about 12-year-old boys being married. That's not what they're fucking talking about. I would guarantee the first 12-year-old boy that gets married to a 30-year-old woman, the Republicans would go to the House floor and they pass a bill where a 12-year-old boy can never lose his manhood and his
not until he's 18.
His ability to be an 18. To be married off to some 30-year-old woman. I guarantee they'd have legislation the very next day. It's about marrying young girls. And Mike Moon gave away the fucking secret in this hearing. Not only did he give away the secret, it was posted online. And because we have the opportunity to spread this stuff around and make people know what's happening in these state houses, the same way has happened in Tennessee. And all likelihood, Speaker Sexton in Tennessee has turned Justin Jones and Justin Pearson into civil rights icons at this point.
Right.
But here's the thing.
Exactly.
Bringing this stuff to light in these hearings on social media and spreading around to show who they truly are. Mike Moon goes on to make a video last week that absolutely not only did he decide to use a shovel to bury his or to dig his political grave, he's like, bring in the backhoe, baby. Let's bring in the backhoe, and I'll use Jesus and God on why I'm justifying that 12-year-old girls should get married and why it's a good thing. And I'm not sure if the media has really gave any kind of real test on his story that he keeps telling, which I actually, the story sounds like bullshit to me.
Thank you.
Until he would prove it, I'm going to say it's bullshit, so I don't give a shit about that.
Thank you.
Mike Moon last week, it was just and I think it's like a 30-second clip that was posted online. Do you think that's one of the most effective ways and the reason why they're so terrified of people like you on social media? Because they say one wrong thing in a meme that's recorded, you post it, and bam, they're having to give
over and over and over.
Like Mike Moon was giving to desperately cling on to their state senatorship because they want to be a lobbyist one day in Missouri. They don't want to be, cast away as a pedophile that they truly are.
Thank you.
Tell us why that's so effective, because you do it so well on social media. But what is it about exposing these idiots and really their idiocy on policy? What is it about that that's so effective?
This is why they want to ban TikTok. This is the real reason.
Right.
We have
well, that's part of it.
Now.
No, it is actually partly
people work all day
Russian.
long. All three of us are very
Chinese
privileged
too.
to sit here and talk about politics, right? We are not.
Forgive me. I'm sorry. It's just one little thing. I'm going to make a point about TikTok. Sorry. If our government owned Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Spoutable, any of them, government owned, everybody would be up in arms. Why is it you're not? That China owns TikTok.
Tomorrow I may not be able to speak, as you do. So, yeah.
Just asking.
At Kawasaki on the line right now. So we are paying attention, but other folks don't have time to do that. They're working 2 or 3 jobs. They've got kids. They've got to make supper.
Right.
They're busy. These clips, and I tell it to all my friends in the Missouri, Democrats, all those legislators, get a clip, send it to me. I will use it because, for good and for bad. Mike Moon got himself caught up because Mike Moon has never been held accountable for anything he has ever said or done. And he was caught up because he was held accountable in that moment, because even conservatives will say, that's not okay.
Nope.
You can't talk about
do
it
this.
being okay to marry off
a child. Thank
and
you.
so he got himself into trouble
Because they're going too
exactly
far.
Right. He looked like he was reading a
And that's what
hostage statement,
happened.
And then he went into God the last minute or so. So we have an issue with unaccountable.
Oh, you're still. No, don't get me wrong. There's still going to be corporations that are all in for making women do the. But I'm sorry, if they're making more money off of a pill to make sure that women's health is good, they're going to try and make sure that they can keep making that money off that pill.
They don't care about our rights. They don't care about our education. They don't care about us while we're pregnant. They don't care about us after we give birth. They don't care about the children. If they were pro-life,
they're not pro-life. Fuck that.
If they were pro-life, they would be making sure that girls
they are pro-fetus because the fetus can't speak. They are also.
Much love. I'll see you soon. Okay, bye.
Okay, he's outie. So I'm going to hold on him off and swap him. We'll get back to this. Okay.
Didn't accidentally get pregnant in the first place, and that they were able to make a choice about, their lives afterwards. They would make sure that children have childcare and health care and a safe place to live, and that their parents make livable wages so that they aren't under this umbrella of poverty that absolutely can implode in things like domestic violence, drug abuse, that sort of thing. These people are not pro-life, and I'm going to tell you, they're not serious people. They're not serious at all. There are a couple. I've met a couple of Republicans down in Jeff City who are really trying to work their way out of this because they are decent people. But it's hard when you have these other people that are, representing you as a whole. And to them, I suggest this: maybe be an independent or vote like your conscience tells you to and reject the party line.
Thank you.
But
that's all we're saying.
That's the thing. They're
no longer that party, though. That's not that party.
Everyone in Missouri,
the party
and in
is
Ohio,
just
and in
too far right.
Should say, just like in Texas.
Well, if every corporation was a Coke,
30 years.
We'd be in deep shit.
30 years.
But
there's absolutely not one Democrat.
If all of a sudden the court all of a sudden decided they're going to go after every form of paper and every form of oil, believe me, the Koch brothers would be all over that in a whole new way.
Go follow Jess anywhere you can. Here's the thing: her link tree is down in the description below. And Jess, tell us where they can find you, though. But the link tree's down below. But where can they find you?
So on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, I'm Piper for Missouri, the number 4.
Piper.
On TikTok, they can find me at Jess Piper Mo.
Thank you.
And then, I would love for you guys to follow me and help me with the messaging. Get it out. I've got a
Thank
pretty
you.
big account,
Exactly.
which is another reason why they're so scared of me.
Thank you. Yes, but let's make it bigger.
Let's be at 100K. They would shit their pants.
Let's do it. Let's make it to where Republicans in Missouri have the arch enemy of Piper for Missouri on Twitter, and they shit
at Piper for Missouri. Piper for Missouri. Go
Jess,
sign up, please.
Liberalism, I truly do. I think it fits in right with our show. I think it fits in with me, and I want to have you back more and more and get your messaging out there. It's so good to talk to you, and I hope we can continue these conversations now and into the future. So, Jess, thank you for joining us. We appreciate having you, and I know the audience loves you. So, everyone, again, go to Jess's link tree and follow Jess anywhere you can. Everyone, stick around. Thank you, Jess, for joining us. Stick around. We'll be right back right after this.
We'll be right back.